Good morning, everybody, and thanks for being here, and thanks for the opportunity to come show you guys what we do with AirPro Diagnostics, and thank you for CCIF for this opportunity as well. But my name's Chuck Olsen. I've been with AirPro Diagnostics for about a year now, and I've been in the mechanical side of the business my entire career. So it's scanning, diagnostics, as we had to come up through the process in the very beginning when they first started hooking wires up to carburetors. So we've gone through this incrementally. It's now with all this attention in collision, this is hitting everybody in collision kind of all at once. So there is a little bit of catch up to do. So it's with us, our approach and our tool, it's actually two different pieces. So we do have the tool, we do have the hardware and the software for the actual scanning, but it's really about a partnership with the shops for the diagnostic process, how it gets done, where you're looking, the interaction with the technicians to get to the results of what you actually see from the scan. So it's much more than just pre-scanning, post-scanning. It's applying what you find out from the results. So first I'm going to start on what is AirPro. Again, there's two different pieces, but the AirPro is the hardware, and it's a remotely controlled scan tool with both OEM and aftermarket compatible software that is directly connected to the vehicle. So all the software is built into the package that is connected to the vehicle. It is remotely accessed by diagnostic specialists via shop, either Wi-Fi or cabled or cellular internet access. So it's initial shop access. Those are some things that are going to have to be assessed to make sure that it can be accessed properly so that the procedures can be done. The remote diagnostic specialists, they use the AirPro to perform the procedures just like you would do with the scan tool if they were at the car with the scan tool. So the scan tool is at the vehicle with all the software right there resident. They're just controlling it. And they can do that for the pre-scans, post-scans, diagnostic functions, calibrations, or programming and flash programming. So some of those things are contingent on how far the shop really wants to go with the procedures that they're going to address. Your flash programming, some of your calibrations are going to require additional tools for the shops to be set up with so that they can do the physical part on the vehicle, so the scan tool functions can be applied remotely from the using the scan tool software and with the diagnostic specialists. All the scan results and the recommendations are communicated and permanently stored in the system, which is an application, which is the other side of this, that we call Orion. And Orion is the interface that is an application. It's an online application that allows the shop to manage all the diagnostic processes that they do on each particular vehicle. So when a vehicle is put in basic information about the vehicle, now they've got that vehicle in the system. Once you're logged into the Orion account and the vehicle's entered, it's very easy for a technician when he's ready to do a scan to just go into the system, request a scan, and communicate. It's really a communication piece between the master technician who's assisting the shop and back and forth, and also a place to where we can download and or upload the results and the recommendations from that scan. So we get the actual scan results and we post it in a permanent form on a PDF as communicated back to the shop by email. Shops can manage their own system, who has access to it, who receives invoices, who receives the scan reports, and then there's contact information with that as well. So it's and that's really what we like. It's a streamlined access to view all their data in one application. So the other part that I really like about it, it's a permanent record, and it's always stored in the system, in the shop's management system, and we have access to the system as well. So if you have a vehicle that's been finished, had a completion scan, all the calibrations were performed, everything was fine, and then we see that car again in 4, 5, 6 months, either for another incident, or if there's a complaint from the customer, that information is always there to be accessed and compared to subsequent services. So it's our device. We're always evolving. We're using cutting edge technology whenever it comes available. It's always evolving. It's portable, compact, rugged, and again, point out with the 3 different ways for the unit to get online. So it does need to get online. And the programming procedures is, I think you guys have heard about this, but there's a lot of confusion that still happens of the difference between a diagnostic scan tool calibration function and actual flash programming. So we do apply both of those processes. But there will be times, depending on the manufacturer, we're still waiting for all the manufacturers to get on board on what's available through J2534. Sometimes your recommendations are going to be, this particular job is going to have to go to the dealer, or it's going to have to go to a mobile specialist who has the actual equipment to do some of the more complex procedures. Again, that's going to be a decision from the shop of how far they want to go. With using the third-party software, that's what gives us the ability to apply the main process to 98% of the vehicles that come through. So it's with doing with the OEM scan tool, the OEM software, you're not going to get that that level of coverage at the 98%. So that's why there's a plurality of the software that we use. We use both to get that coverage, so that the applications are consistent. You have a consistent SOP. So it's not conditional. We can do this one, we can't do this one, and it removes another decision point. All the software and the systems on the AirPro are managed by us from the main operating system, OEM software subscriptions, and the information we give, again, enables the shop to make their repair decisions based on the skill sets you have in the shop. If you have something that needs pinpoint diagnostics, our technicians are available to give additional diagnostic information from service information and steer a shop through other procedures. There's a connector issue. If a ground has been painted over, we're going to see those faults that are active, and we will assist those shops in solving that problem while the vehicle is there, instead of having to sublet it for additional repairs. Again, based on their skill set. If you don't have a guy that can splice a wire, fix a wire, or do some basic voltage checks, that's where the skill set difference is going to come in. And with the process, this is a process map that we put together, and with the SOP, and again, this is why the 98% of the coverage really comes into play. So each vehicle, it's go through the inspection. If there's no warning lamps, and I'll explain the different scan types, our definition of scan types a little bit more as we go forward. But just to identify, if there's no warning lamps, you do a quick scan. You've got to check that vehicle out and see if there's anything in it that is going to trigger additional repairs. If there are lamps on, you're going to go right, or an airbag deployment, you're going to go right to an inspection scan. We know things need to be assessed on that vehicle. And then with that full inspection, data scan review, now it's after you evaluate those codes with the diagnostic procedures, now you have a better repair plan. If there are no codes, nothing, or codes that are obviously not related, then the vehicle is going to go through the regular repair process. When you get finished with the vehicle, then of course you got to go to the post-repair scan point. If there's calibrations needed, codes need to be cleared. After codes are clear, then you go to the final quality control step. So this is a good process, and we've got it posted on our website as well. It's online, and I'm open to suggestions. I'm not a collision guy, so if there's any suggestions that need to be put in this flow chart, I'd be happy to add it. So the AirPro with Orion is how it works. Is the shop requests a service through the Orion management system. That's not done through the hardware device. That is done through the application with any PC, tablet that's online. They access the system and request the service. The shop connects the AirPro, just like you would any other scan tool, and prepare the vehicle, put it in the correct state for scanning. The AirPro diagnostic specialist logs in, performs the procedures. Once he's finished with this, and this is normally about a 10 to 15 minute process. There can be wait times up to 10 minutes before a technician logs in. We keep that login time down to about 10 minutes before we're actually logged on performing the scan. At the conclusion of the scan, the AirPro diagnostic tech will contact the shop verbally by telephone call or text message to the technician. I recommend shops using this process have a cordless phone available with a direct line to technicians that are in the shop so that our specialists can contact them directly without going through switchboards or front offices. Excuse me. And they'll give them a quick verbal report. After that, they can disconnect, and then the AirPro Diagnostics specialist goes through, analyzes that report, adds service information, and makes the recommendations based on the diagnostic results of areas of concern, what needs to be addressed on that car. And if there are obvious issues that need calibrations, we're going to recommend that. So our scan definitions, we've got these main five is quick scan, inspection, diagnostic, completion, and a follow-up. So quick scan, again, that's a vehicle, you don't have any obvious symptoms, no airbag deployments, nothing on. We just need to check that car and see if there's something going on that won't turn on a malfunction indicator lamp that you may not be aware of. If the scan result is no codes or obvious non-related codes, it's a no charge. We don't charge for that scan. We feel so strongly that, that all these vehicles need to be checked and looked at. That's why we've instituted that policy. So that takes away a decision point. Should I scan this car? Should I not scan it? It's with a quick scan process, it's not going to take that long to hook up the vehicle and see and verify if everything's clear. We're going to help identify optional equipment on the vehicle. A scan like this is not absolute. It's not going to tell you actually what's on that vehicle, but it is going to give you an indication. So if there's certain modules or certain options that could possibly be on that vehicle that we would expect to see, we would alert the shop to verify if that vehicle is equipped with it or if that system may not be working. We recommend the Oem Required Calibrations. This is mainly for the occupant detection systems. Every vehicle that has mandatory occupant detections, we're going to automatically include that in the report. So even though it's a no-charge quick scan, you still get the full report with all the recommendations we can make based on what the shop told us about the car. An inspection scan will be, again, if we have there's diagnostic information that's provided for that vehicle. So if the vehicle's got a light on that needs to be checked, if it's had an airbag deployment, it's going to be an inspection scan, and that's going to be available service. That's where our technicians are really adding diagnostic specialist art to that report. We're going to analyze the airbag deployments and the modules, and this is really important on this part. It's because I've been noticing, and again, I'm not an expert in the estimating systems, but a lot of the estimating systems have been reported back to me still list airbag module replacements whenever there's a deployment. And that's just not the case anymore in OEM information. These airbag modules need to be analyzed, the codes need to be checked, they need to be checked if they're latched and if that module can be returned to service. So if it's not latched, it can be returned to service after the airbag repairs, as long as it's not physically damaged. So if it passes the electronic test, not physically damaged, and that's going to reduce the cost and make it much easier on the repair. If it does need to be replaced, certain modules need to have codes retrieved from them before that module's taken out of the vehicle and a replacement put in. If you don't have that information and you just replace it, you're going to be scrambling on delivery day trying to get that module programmed and set up. And we also analyze the optional electrical equipment, just like the quick scan, identify the trouble areas with recommendations and further inspections. We also analyze possible pre-existing conditions on the vehicle. So these are going to be conditional. If we have obvious frequency counter data, and it's also referred to a lot as freeze frame data, if it's there and it's obvious, we're going to report it. It's not always there on every module on every vehicle, so that's very conditional. If it's something that a car was hit on the right front, we've got that information, there's something with the left rear wheel speed sensor, we're going to report it that it needs inspection, but we're also going to put on there that that's most likely not related to the accident, would be a pre-existing condition. But it's going to take some additional inspections to come to that absolute determination whether it's related or not when the frequency counter data is not there. This is going to help increase the estimate accuracy and also give an opportunity to upsell repairs not associated with the loss. Completion scan, that's after repair. This needs to be done when the vehicle is completely reassembled. All the pieces are on it. And the basic completion scan, connect to the vehicle, read all the codes, clear the trouble codes, reset any affected systems, perform any required calibrations, and these are the basics. Also during a completion scan, if a module's been replaced and needs programming, it will happen at that time. And to return the vehicle electronics to the pre-loss condition. A lot of times there's a bonus for the customer. There will be conditions during that process that were pre-existing. They're going to be cleared and reset as well. Customer can be advised of those issues, and if a subsequent issue returns, it's documented on that completion scan that that issue was there. And then when faults are detected that need further attention, this was kind of what I was alluding to before, that's when we're going to change that scan to a diagnostic scan. So diagnostic scan is a session that when additional trouble is found, and that's when our technicians really go into diagnostic mode and contact the shop of where the problem is. A diagnostic scan might also be requested by a shop if there's a known problem that needs to be solved to get that vehicle through its repair process. Maybe you have an engine that won't start, or there's no communication, they need assistance to continue with that repair process. Diagnostic scans, whether if we bill for them or conditional, if we solve the problem, go to a completion scan, it doesn't apply. If we go through and time is spent, technician art is added to that, then there would be a charge for that scan session. And if that is done, a final completion scan needs to be done to clear all the codes, perform calibrations, and repair that the vehicle electronic assembly is all complete. So it's another time this might apply is if you have a condition with a hard fault, pinpoint diagnostics needs to take place, and it's going to take the technician several hours or a day or so to take care of that, or if there's a part that wasn't replaced that needs to be ordered and put on the vehicle. A follow-up scan is, this scan is a no-charge scan, and this happens after a completion scan, and it's pretty rare. If you do the pre-scan, and you do the post-scan, and you do the calibrations, this follow-up scan almost never happens. But it's there, and we want to make sure that we do address it. So it's no charge, and if a vehicle returns with a malfunction indicator lamp, or a symptom after a QC road test, or after a delivery to a customer, because there are certain things that can happen on a vehicle that are not continuously monitored. What I mean by continuously monitored is some systems on the car, when you turn on the key and start to drive, they continuously monitor the system. If there's a fault, it will set it. Others are conditionally monitored. So certain conditions have to be met before the system will self-check itself and possibly flag a trouble code. So that's why we put in the follow-up scan to address those situations. And so if something does come back that needs further attention, the customer knows about it up front. It's more of a positive experience for the customer. And again, we want to help the shop resolve any of those kind of issues that may come up. So that's about the end, and it's all the systems that we got is the, again, are we ready for all of these? Emission engine control, been available for a while. We've got multiple different restraint and airbag systems that need to be addressed. Park assist has been around for a while. These are all the systems that are not getting all the attention with the advanced driver assistance systems. So advanced driver assistance is, all of us in the industry still have a ways to go to address those systems. Additional tools, additional software, targeting, and so this electronics and diagnostics is just going to get steeper for everybody. But with help and organizations like this, and with more input from the OEMs to address these situations, so as these advanced systems become more prevalent, we'll be able to address them along with all these other systems that we already have in place. So it's open for any questions if I have any time. I don't even know how much time I used, but got 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
Questions this afternoon again during the demo. Question period again this afternoon during your demo.
Okay, perfect. So it's looking forward to doing a demonstration this afternoon. I'm sorry, I got.
You mentioned that not all modules have to be replaced, even though the estimating system indicates they do.
Yes.
So are you guys? So let's say your system tells me no, it doesn't have to be replaced. It just needs to be recalibrated or whatever the case is. Are you guys willing to take on that liability?
If it is supported in the OEM service information, if that is a procedure, we will stand behind it. The second part of that needs to be, of course, a physical inspection, because that is a condition. So if the case is damaged, if the floor is buckled, wherever that module is located, that's still a condition for replacement.
Chuck, can you reiterate to the room? I don't think everybody heard his question.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
On the module, the question was if an estimating system says to replace a module and the OEM service information says to check the module and test the module, we will stand behind that determination based on the OEM information. Again, there is a second part that the physical inspection of the module needs to take place. So if the case is damaged, if the floor is buckled between the mounting, that's a condition for that module to be replaced. And I think some of those things are changing in the estimating systems. I don't use them every day, so I'm not really sure. But this is a lot of feedback that I've gotten from different shops, just like your question, that we'll make a recommendation that it can be used. He said, hey, my estimating system says to replace it, what do we do? So it's another good example is a clock spring. Clock springs, a lot of them, if there's a frontal airbag deployment, says automatically replace the clock spring. Depends on the manufacturer. Other manufacturers say inspect the clock spring. So if you inspect the clock spring, there's any obvious burning heat spots, then replace it. But it's conditional, so it's not automatic. I think this is an area to help reduce cost and to help offset the additional costs of going into more of the pre and post scanning to make sure that everything's applied correctly from the service information in conjunction with the scan tool data. Yes, John?
Chuck, you suggested that front seat calibration. So is front seat calibration, 0-point calibration included regular cost with the scan? Your technicians do that at the same time as checking and converting there to the DPC?
Yeah, that's you're referring to the 0-point seat calibrations. That's a very standard calibration that applies to mainly the Asian vehicles. With that standard calibration on a post scan, we will perform those automatic 0-point seat calibrations. That's included without an additional programming charge with those vehicles, as long as it's a basic calibration. If it's a more drawn-out calibration to where road testing needs to take place, and that's one of the benefits that we've got with this as well, is for road testing procedures, we can plug this in, start a process, apply weights to a seat, drive the vehicle, come back. As soon as it's back in Wi-Fi range, our technician's back on it. The scan tool's doing exactly what we told it to do because it's in the location of the vehicle. Same holds true with some of the other dynamic calibrations. Some steering angle calibrations require the vehicle to be driven a certain speed, then turned left, then turned right, then back to center. We can apply this process to those types of calibrations as well.
So, with that tool, can you tether it to a cell phone to continue diagnostics on a road test?
Yes, and that question was, can it be tethered to a cell phone? If you have a good cellular signal with a decent hotspot service on your cell phone, yes, it can be tethered to a cell phone or any other type of hotspot. So that's another benefit. If you add that to this tool, our technicians can actually, during road tests, monitor live conditions.
I have sort of a two-part question here. First of all, you said about the no charge for the pre-scan, basically quick scan as you called it. First of all, if you said it's not related, there's no charge. Who determines if it's related at that point? And Also, my second question is, if we do a repair, just say we're blending a door, we have to remove a mirror, and we cause the condition as the shop just by removing it. At the end, that mirror has to be calibrated. I'm just using that as an example, but that mirror has to be calibrated. Would that be above or charged as a scan or a calibration?
Those are a couple of good questions. So it's I'll repeat those questions. The first part of the question is on a quick scan, if the code is related to the accident, who makes that determination? So we can only make the determination up to a point. So we make the determination up to the point if it's obviously not related to the accident. So if we can read the data, it's obviously not related, we're going to keep it as a quick scan. We're going to report what those codes are and what we think the fault is. A very good example of that, Toyotas and Hyundais and Kias set sunload sensor codes when the car's in the shade all the time. We just know that's an anomaly, that's how it sets. We're going to report that it's there and say this is not related to the accident. If we have 4 tire pressure monitor codes on a vehicle, it's probably got winter wheels on it or somebody's put custom wheels on it. That's an obvious not related code. And in completely opposite areas of the vehicle, depending on the code, that's when we're going to make that determination. There will be conditions where we will go to an inspection scan and we will make recommendations for further inspection, and that further inspection and customer information may reveal that it is not related to the accident. We're going to leave that as an inspection scan. That's valuable information to the customer, valuable to the insurer, so that the responsibility of those particular issues can be handled at that time.
But
So
not
it's
charged, right? After your inspection, it's not charged to the shop.
There is a charge to the shop if we go and do an inspection scan, right, and do the diagnostics. So at that point where it goes forward, whether it's charged to a customer, whether the insurer picks it up, and there's blends of those kind of things as well. Sometimes we'll have 3 codes that are obviously not related, and we'll have 4 that are. So so that's just kind of bonus information that the shop gets. And I'm sorry, what was the?
The second part of the question was if we caused that condition.
Yeah, if the condition was caused, and that can be hard to tell if you don't have an inspection scan or a quick scan, but on a completion scan, all the codes are cleared, all the systems are reinitialized as part of the process, so all those codes are going to be cleared, whether it was caused by the accident or whether it was caused by the repair process. It's almost 100% unavoidable not to set codes in a car while you're during the repair process. So they need to be cleared to get that vehicle back to its pre-existing condition for those to happen. But if you have the pre-scan and the post-scan, you know without a doubt that was caused by the repair. If you skip the pre-scan and you do a post-scan, I don't know if you caused it, if it was a pre-existing condition, and now we're just all guessing. It's another reason why we advocate the quick scan so strongly. Is that about it? Thank you, everybody. I appreciate your time. Look forward to seeing you this afternoon. So it's a quick explanation of what we got. We got the hardware over here, and it's turned on, ready to go. It's online, so I'm going to be connecting to the Chevrolet here momentarily. And one of the features we got built into this is a built-in voltmeter. So whenever it's plugged into the car, you're going to see live battery voltage that's displayed on the unit itself, and our technicians can see it as well. As what's displayed on the screen is our operating system, and this is the interface Orion that spoke about earlier today. So I've already built some repairs on some of these vehicles, and actually got the opportunity to do some scans on them a little bit earlier. So right here we have the Chevrolet Cruze, and as easy as it is, just a quick click comes up of what kind of scan it is. We're going to call this a quick scan, so I'm not sure of any information that we have on there. I looked at this car earlier and it was a rear collision. Didn't have any airbag deployments or anything. And this will be changing on the interface, but contact information will be saved. But this is where we put the contact person in the shop so the remote technician knows who to contact. And submit for the scan. So now that scan's submitted, and as what you see here is on the user interface for the shop that wrench turns white. So that just shows the shop that the scan's been submitted and they're ready to connect up to the vehicle. So on the unit on itself, just turn it on, make sure it's on its home screen. There's really not a lot to see on this side because everything's being done remotely. See, we got some battery support here. Set this down for a moment. And the technician logs into the device and takes over on the scan. It's just basically setting the vehicle up with the key on, and everything happens in the background automatically. So they'll be contacting me as soon as that's done. And it looks like we've lost Wi-Fi for some reason. So. So give that a few minutes and let that run through. back to our user interface. We got this Chevrolet Cruze that's in process. And this is the side that the technicians will see. On the scans that they're active on. So this one has been picked up. Get back to our repairs dashboard. Okay, we got some results on this thing previously. I'll give you a quick overview of that. Key off. And after that, like I said, everything happens in the background. There's really not much to see on the scan tool itself other than the technician logs in, scans the vehicle, has done everything on his end, and then they deliver this report, which comes across in a PDF. And I'll just show you a brief. That's all these reports are going to be delivered for review. So we've got all the vehicle information. This is what the shop gets. We got our Chevrolet Cruze, what the shop reports. 12 faults recorded, a quick list of what the faults are on the vehicle. Technician recommendations. On all the areas of the vehicle. So this particular vehicle would move on to a inspection scan with the recommendations and the verifications for those things to be addressed on the vehicle. And that's pretty much it. Like I said, there's not a whole lot to show with everything going on in the background of the vehicles. So it's we can switch over and do this Mazda real quick if I got time to do the Mazda. Not sure. Yep. So I'm all done with the Chevrolet on the demonstration. There's not a lot to see, so I'm good. Yep. So I've got some previous scan reports of the vehicles, and we'll be giving those after review.